Alright, welcome to Darkest Dungeon. Specifically, my interesting little playthrough of Darkest Dungeon. As you can tell, I have just arrived in town and things are a little bit different. So, I am playing essentially vanilla Darkest Dungeon, sort of, well, not downloading any mods. The only mod that I actually have
and reclusive.
is
This man is more dangerous
I have
than he
more
seems.
colors. That's it. So I'm gonna go through all the classes and all the colors in a moment.
Shoot.
But the
Bandage
call to
and
action
pillage.
is
Dancing
I would
steps
really
of war.
I would like anyone who would like to take a character and
This man understands that
join me in the
adversity
romp
and
through the Darkest
existence
Dungeon
are one and the same.
to pick a class, give it a name, a little bit of backstory if you want. Reynold and Dismas will stay Reynold and Dismas, but everyone else is free to take. So, yeah, the color palettes is the only mod that I got off of Nexus. And that's specifically because I was able to just take the color swatch, like the sprites that had been recolored, and put them in a folder where nothing else touches it, and it doesn't touch anything else. So, as I play through this game, I'm going to be making some changes, as you saw with the... I'm not actually going to do that for the stagecoach. The idea is I'm going to have things change over the course of the playthrough. Primarily with the focus of giving myself interesting, equally viable choices, and ensuring that there's never a situation where there's just a right answer. I'm not going to try to make everything equally powerful, but I am going to try to keep things relatively in line so that whatever combination you may or may not choose still works. If I could adjust the skills to be a little bit more interesting, the classes to be a little bit more interesting, because right now a lot of the classes are very similar. Or at the very least, they have a lot of similarities. The worst offenders, of course, being the Musketeer and the Arbalist. Where'd the Arbalist go? There. So the Musketeer and the Arbalist are very, very similar. And so I'm going to change them. And by the end of the playthrough, my goal is to have every decision be somewhat compelling. At least as compelling as possible. And I also removed all the downsides to all the trinkets, so I'll need to rebalance them as we go as well. Because that does just, in general, increase the power of the player, having no downsides to any of the trinkets. By the end of the playthrough, we should have a very interesting, challenging, and compelling, effectively overhaul mod. But I'm going to be walking you through it while I do it, showing you the JSON changes I'm making, and just have a good time. But yeah, if you'd like to join me in my romp through the Darkest Dungeon, leave a comment down below with a character name, character class, background if you want. Color, I'll just go ahead and go through the colors while I talk about the next points. So there's 9, I believe, on everyone now. And as I go through the colors, I'm going to explain why I'm doing this. So Red Hook is they're good devs. They are great devs. They make very interesting experiences with themes that are very powerful. And yeah, so I was definitely on board. I got in very early, and this was back whenever I was still like kind of dreaming of being a game. Wait, did I go through all of them? I don't think I went through all of them. Let's go through all. This was back whenever I was still like making experimental projects and learning how to code and doing all sorts of, stuff to try to become, the goal of becoming a game developer. And so like I was paying really close attention to everyone in the indie space and everything they were doing. And so I was there whenever the corpse the corpse patch hit, and they got all the flack for just making the game more in line with their vision for it. Which is part of the reason why with all my A-modest analysis videos, I always try to stress that, like, I'm not saying I have the answer or that my way is the right way. I'm just trying to give considerations for the game devs who's made the games that I'm doing the A-modest analysis videos on. Just specifically considerations that they can, you know, they can ponder and decide if it's in service of making the game more along the, you know, the lines that they want, and if it's going to bring it further to their, or closer to their vision. And that's kind of like my whole thing is like, yeah, that's kind of the end all be all, is like game devs are there to make the experience that they envision, and the old school way is they finish making the game they envision, and if you like it, you know, buy it and then play it and have a good time. I'm going kind of fast there. But yeah, with early access and now with like modding gaining so much steam. Now, technically, my first experience with modding was way back. Command & Conquer had ini files where you could change basically all the stats on all the units. Or was it just Command & Conquer Red Alert? I specifically remember Command & Conquer Red Alert because that's the one that my brother and I and our friends would all like just change all sorts of crazy stuff, and yeah, that was fun. And that was like the earliest form of modding, is, you know, map editors and changing like ini files and stuff. But yeah, kind of in that vein, I'm gonna tweak the Darkest Dungeon experience to my liking, to my preferences, as if I were balancing it or doing an overhaul mod or whatever, just like real time while you're watching. Well, not real time while you're, like, I'll be playing through and making notes on things that are like, you know, that I want to change, that I want to look at, and then it's debatable. Depending on whether or not people care to watch, I'll probably do like a, hey, this is a video where I'm messing with the JSON for the next, you know, X number of episodes. And then I'll play for a bit and make more notes and change more JSON files, etc., etc., etc. But that's just kind of the ideas of the playthrough. Is I'm just gonna go through and mod as I go. And unfortunately, the Musketeer and the Shield Bearer did not have the mod. The mod, like I said, the simple mod that definitely isn't going to mess with anything else. That was just extra folders. Yeah, it just didn't have the DLC classes, so we just have the 4 for the DLC classes. But yeah, you can pick a color, pick a name, and pick a class. And join me on my romp through the Darkest Dungeon. Worth noting, I did start my solo game dev project and start putting basically all of my free time into my game dev project. After Darkest Dungeon was out of early access, I think, but like before I ever had a chance to actually go into and fight in and complete the Darkest Dungeon, the titular Darkest Dungeon that, you know, signals the end of the game. So that's going to be my first time going through there, and yeah, it should be fun. I did watch bits of Christopher Odd's playthrough at some point, and that's kind of where the whole, hey, if you want to pick a character, pick a color, pick a name, and give a backstory thing, it was a fun little thing. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that if anyone cares enough to. So this is the casting call. This is the casting call for my Darkest Dungeon Evolution playthrough. And then, yeah, gonna play the game. Gonna have fun. Gonna change stuff. Gonna experiment with different things. And if something works, cool, we keep it. If it doesn't work, I go back and change it more until it starts working. And obviously I'm going to keep the roster size larger. I'm gonna do. There is one like common. Even the developers admitted that like the early or the mid game like grind where I just lost. I got wiped in one. I got wiped in one dungeon, and now I have to rebuild for weeks. That was solved by numerous different mods. It's a very common change for modders to make. And so I went ahead and did that too, and obviously I'm going to have to go back and change it back, because I had to adjust it again to be able to get all of the classes to show off all the colors available. But, yeah. I went ahead and made it so that if I lose whatever level character, then there's guaranteed to be one in the stagecoach of that level. Not necessarily the same class, but a character of that level, just to cut down on the mid-game grind. I'm hoping to not take, too many months, but at 2 episodes a week, and I'm pretty sure the JSON episode, the JSON edits are going to be a separate thing, because, not everyone cares to watch somebody go through JSON files and change data. But I'm going to be doing starting in July. I don't know if I said that yet. This is actually my second time recording, because the first time the OBS was weird. That's why I started here. I was originally I was starting in the main menu and blah 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 going through, but it was being weird in OBS, so I just had to start in the hamlet. I guess I could have started in the initial dungeon or the tutorial dungeon, but regardless. So I'll probably start the first episode going through the tutorial dungeon, even though it's not really a tutorial dungeon, if you already know how the game works and everything. But the mod pack that has just it's just a .rar zip file, or not zip, .rar, what's it called? Compressed file folder, has, I'll link the Nexus Mods place where I got it, that has all the extra colors. And yeah, so feel free to join me if you would like. If you think this is interesting, yeah, I'm still not comfortable doing the whole shilling thing. The like, subscribe, comment, blah, blah, blah. Nah, like, you'll do it if you like it. If you don't like it, okay. I'm here for fun. And this is gonna be fun. So, feel free to join me, or don't. I really don't care. But it would be pretty cool to have people, leave characters. And no, there is not, like, a one limit per person. Like, if you have 20 ideas, obviously I'm gonna, I'm gonna not just take one person's ideas unless there literally is. Yeah, regardless, I'm rambling now. The important thing is I will definitely accept as many people as possible if I'm getting a bunch of character options or character suggestions. But yeah, obviously everything here is subject to change. Blah 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 blah. I'm just gonna have a blast. And I'm going to play through Darkest Dungeon technically vanilla until I mod it. I guess technically it is modding if you're changing the JSON files. More or less starting with vanilla Darkest Dungeon. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. I'm going to have fun. And hopefully you will too, because it's always more fun to watch somebody who's having fun. And hopefully my own special little, take on it, my own little custom, my own little custom thing will hopefully be entertaining. Yeah, that's the plan. That's my thoughts. That's why I'm calling it Darkest Dungeon Evolution. We'll see what happens. But yeah, you got till, let's see, right now it is the 20th of June as I record this. Yes, it's going live in a couple hours. So you've got about 2 weeks. Oh yeah, actually exactly 2 weeks. Yeah, so July... Oh, it's going to be the 4th of July. Well, how about that? For those of you who aren't in the U.S., that's the quote Independence Day for the United States. It's a thing where people fire off fireworks. So it's not going to be live streaming, right? These are YouTube videos, not live streams. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I can record whenever and just upload it for the 4th of July. Cool. Awesome. So yeah, 4th of July will be the first episode. Toss comments underneath this video on characters you would like to send my way to bring into the darkest dungeon. And now, I'm going to go ahead and just, in case you haven't seen it, or if you haven't seen it in a while, play you the opening cinematic, because it is really good. It sets the mood perfectly. So yeah.
Ruin has come to our family. You remember our venerable house? Opulent and imperial, gazing proudly from its stoic perch above the moor. I lived all my years in that ancient, rumor-shadowed manor, fattened by decadence and luxury. And yet I began to tire of conventional extravagance. Singular, unsettling tales suggested the mansion itself was a gateway to some fabulous and unnameable power. With relic and ritual, I bent every effort towards the excavation and recovery of those long-buried secrets, exhausting what remained of our family fortune on swarthy workmen and sturdy shovels. At last, in the salt-soaked crags beneath the lowest foundations, we unearthed that damnable portal of antediluvian evil. Our every step unsettled the ancient earth. But we were in a realm of death and madness. In the end, I alone fled laughing and wailing through those blackened arcades of antiquity, until consciousness failed me. You remember our venerable house, opulent and imperial. It is a festering abomination. I beg you, return home, claim your birthright, and deliver our family from the ravenous, clutching shadows of the darkest dungeon.
For now, I'm off. Till next time, have a good one.